What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's going to be the day that we're going to get the BMW on some air suspension, and I probably should say hopefully, because every time I go to work on something always happens. Just like a 20-minute oil change usually turns into an all-day affair. Today, we're going to get this bad boy, get you a shot of it, this guy on some air suspension. So, let's get to it. Alright, so here I got mostly everything minus the tank and a few fittings that we'll need to actually go ahead and install the air suspension on BMW. So first, I'll show you, we got the bags from Tough Luck. These are the divorced spring in the rear, so that's why these are a little bit special for the rears. And then I have the front, these are the slim bags for the front so that we can clear the tire, and then also the Raceland suspension. So I went super cheap with these. Black Friday, I think it was 360 bucks for the whole setup, and they come with lifetime warranty, so I figured that was pretty decent for just getting a set of coilovers that are adjustable, and now we can slide our bags right over. So all our springs and stuff, we're going to throw those out. We don't need those because we do everything on bags. We need to deal with the springs. So, okay, we're back. Here I already have one. Get this thing aligned. Here we go. I already threaded this one on, and you kind of see that you'll be able to, we'll go over that in a little bit, exactly how to put those on when I go to do it. But let's go through what we got here. So here first is our compressor. That will get bolted to the wood floor that we made. We got two switches. So this will be your front down up and your rear down up, and then our gauge. I 3D printed this to fit into the actual little like coin holder of the BMW, so that should be good. These are our fittings that go into the actual bags. Look, they're all threaded right here. Some grease, so that'll go onto, not this one, on these they have, show you quick. One-handed stuff is a lot of fun. Get off there. Inside there, some O-rings. So you'll put grease on those. Two at the bottom, and I believe there's one at the top. Okay, next thing. This is another push connect fitting, so this will probably go into the back of my tank, and I'll go show you the tank and what we have on there. But we got a couple of these that go on the tank. Here I have the fuse that'll be fused to run to the compressor, and then here's your relay, and then this is basically a piggyback fuse, and that will connect into my fuse panel, connect it to something that turns on as soon as the car goes on, so maybe the radio or something like that will stick into the fuse panel, and then you'll put two fuses for each one, and then I got an outlet to run that'll power my relay, as well as the gauge over here. So that came with kind of a wiring harness and a few different, there's your harness for that, and your pressure solenoid, so you get power to these, and they'll have a fitting on here that'll tell you how much pressure on the digital gauge there. Keep going down. What else we got? We got some more T fittings and then some Y fittings. Now essentially the same, but I got two different sets. So you'll let's go to the tank, and I'll show you from there what we're gonna do. Okay, so here we are back at the tank. A few things I want to go over back here is our pressure switch. So this basically at 120 psi, it'll kick on and tell our compressor to kick on, and then as soon as it gets to tank pressure of 150 psi, it'll kick off. So that's that. Down underneath, you can see I got a little drain, so if you get any moisture in there, we can drain it out. On this side, we have the pressure pop-off. I think it's at 175. So if the tank ever gets to 175 psi, this opens and relieves the pressure and gets it back to 175. So basically, we can't have any, I guess, explosions from this. And then here, I have a quick connect filter, quick connect connector, I guess, that will run our line straight up to our switches. I think we got a good setup so that you can see and watch how bad my drawing skills are, so don't make fun of me. But let's go ahead and we'll draw each corner for our, well, that's a front spring. Close enough. Draw a couple of these guys. They all look like shrooms, but that's alright. Gets the point across, you know? Maybe little trees, I don't know. Either way, they're double barrel or double bellow bags. And there you go. So, it's our four corners, and we'll have our, let's say, our switch. This is our gauge, and then switch 1, switch 2. So, we'll do our tank. It's a terrible tank. Let's make it look like a tank, Eric. Look at that. There we go. Alright, so we showed that one fitting that came off the back. So that came off the right side there. That'll run up to the switches. These are two switches. Run up to the two switches, and then that's where we'll add in a Y. Little Y connector. So that'll be our, that's our Y connector right there, okay? So from there you'll have one go into that switch and one go into that switch. Basically those are your, get your focus, those supplies, so that when you press up, it allows air to flow into the bags. So now from the switches coming out, we'll have, let's say we come out here and we'll come out here. So let's say this is, we got in here, this is rear and this is, can't even see that, rear, front. So from the front, we'll have a T, which is essentially the same as this, just looks like a T versus a Y, but it's going to do the pretty much the same thing. So from here we'll have a T. It'll come in to here, come off, so the 1T will go to our gauge. That way we'll know how much pressure is running in our front two bags, and then we'll come out and probably do another Y to this bag and a Y to that bag. That'll get your front side, and then our rear is basically the same thing. I'll put a T in, one will go to the gauge, and then we'll come back, do a Y the wrong way, we'll do a Y, run one to this bag and one to that bag, and that'll be this very simple setup. And then basically once you hit the other way on the switch just dumps air from that circuit. So basically coming back in and it'll go down. And that's pretty much it as far as it goes for plumbing the actual bags. Now this switcher, if you had a manual pressure gauge, it'd be really simple. You just run the pressure into each side and you get it that way. This one's a little more complicated because you'll have a wiring harness. So the actual gauge came with a little wiring harness, and basically instead of going into our gauge, you're going to go into either side of the, I guess, pressure sensors. So these are sensors, and then you'll run your wires into this little harness they gave you. But that depends on what you want to do. So this gives you a very simple way to set up your bag system. Alright, so I would show you guys exactly how to install everything onto an E92, but Raceland has a really good video on exactly how to install their coilovers into a car. So I will link that at the bottom if this is the exact car that you have, and you can look at that. Except I will show you exactly how the bags go onto the coilovers, so we'll pan to that next. Okay, so the coilover from Raceland will come just like that. So the E92 actually uses the top hats from your car, so once I remove those, I can put those on. But we can go ahead and install the bags. Okay, good view of it. Basically, you remove your top piece, remove the coils because we don't need those. Now, set that down. Grab our bag. We'll go ahead, apply some of the grease to it. Go ahead and do that quick. Just use your finger and get the seal in there greased up. Make installing it and the seal much better. Also has a top one. And I'll link in the description to Tough Luck's bags. They seem really good quality, using them on the 240 and the BMW, so they seem pretty good. Also, I guess price-wise, I think it was $6.50 shipped for ones that are divorced. So, I got stuff all over me. So if it's a divorced one and he has to make something like this, it's about $6.50. But if you have all coilover style, then I believe they're $500 shipped. But I'll make sure I'll put some prices in the description and the link to his website so you can get some. But basically from there, just slides over the top and screws on. And now you can set this wherever you are for the car. So I'll go ahead and set mine kind of even for each side, and then from there you can adjust it a little bit more depending on where you want the lowest point of your car is or the highest. But it's as simple as that for installing them onto the coilovers. Then you'll have your two locking collars come up and lock from there, and you'll install top hats from the car. But really is as simple as that for your bag over coilover setup. So from here I'm going to go ahead and set everything up, and then I'll pan back. We'll get back to it when it's done, and I'll show you exactly how everything works. Obviously you kind of saw the front end. It's not as low as I'd like it to be, so we're going to do a little bit changing things up in the front end. That'll probably be on a different video, or I'm just going to go with the airlift front struts to get it a little bit lower. We'll see what we want to do with it, but hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Peace.